Hi friends, it's Terry Gaines. In this video, I'm going to share two cards created with a stamp set called This Birthday Piggy. It is available in Stampin' Up's 2022-2023 annual catalog. And the coordinating dies called Playful Piggy dies. The Playful Piggy dies are not in the catalog. They are part of Stampin' Up's promotion called Perfect Partners, which is September of 2022. And in this promotion, there are six dies that coordinate with stamp sets that are in the annual catalog or the July through December mini catalog. In a previous video, I shared some cards made with the Apple Harvest bundle. In this video, as I mentioned, I'm going to show two cards created with this Birthday Piggy bundle. If you already own the stamp set, you can purchase the dies. If you don't have either one of them, you can purchase them together for a 10% savings. But the dies are only available till the end of September. The dies will cut out 4 of the images in the stamp set. There's some additional sentiment images. The dies also have some other images that will help you build some beautiful paper crafting projects. I'm going to be sharing two cards, and I've done all the prep work, or almost all the prep work for the cards. Both cards have the same card base. They are 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 and folded. Both have a basic black layer that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Both of them have a basic white layer that is 4 by 5 1/4. For both of them, for one orientation of my cards, I'm going to have the landscape and the other the portrait. For both of them, for that basic white layer, I put the cardstock into the clouds embossing folder, and I texturize one of them in the orientation in this direction, and I emboss the other one in the orientation of this direction. So I did that ahead of time. Both cards have grass on them, and there is this great die that can create that grass cut image. So though both of them are going to be 1 1/4 inch in height. For this one, for both of them, I lined it up to the edge. For this one, I had to run it through my die cutting machine one time and then a second time matching that up. So once I ran it through the die to cut it, I then added some texture with the Timber 3D folder just to add some texture to that grass image. So all of that prep work done is ahead of time. And then I also stamped the images with the Memento ink on basic white cardstock, and I colored them all in. We're going to start, the first card's going to have these two images. Now I didn't color these portions in because we're not going to need that for the first card, but I colored in the pig with petal pink, light and dark, and the accent pieces, or the hoofs and the nose, is done with the light smoky slate. I colored in my rest of my images with daffodil, with granny apple green, and with the sweet sorbet color, but you can pick your favorite colors for these. So we're going to start out with these colors right here. I'm going to just move the camera down a little bit closer as I work with the detail part of this project. So these images are going to be for this card. I also wanted to so let me go back to this. So I'm only using part of these, and I actually grabbed the wrong one. I'm using this one for this one. We're not going to use the birthday cake, so I'm going to take a paper snips and just trim that off. The dies do most of the work for you already, so to trim the birthday cake off, you don't have too much to cut. So we're just going to use the pig with the balloon. For this one, we don't want the scooter or the flag, so we're going to, and if you duplicate this project, you're going to do this also, but what I'm going to do is cut off the scooter. And as I mentioned earlier, the dies do part of this work for you already, and then cut this part off. And I'm going to take the flag off also, so I'm going to cut that off. So we just want the two pigs and the balloon. We are going to actually put both of them in the wagon. So the die set has the wagon, which is really cute. I wanted to add some thickness to the wagon, so I decided to use the foam adhesive sheets. You get 6 of these in a package. They're 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, and they are adhesive on both sides. And what you want to do, and I did this with my real red cardstock, is cut my cardstock to the same dimension, peel this off, and stick it to the one side of the cardstock. Then you're going to flip it over and keep this backing on, run this through your die cutting machine, and I've done this 4 times already with that piece, and run that through, and what's going to happen is you're going to get that wagon in a dimension with adhesive on the back. So I did that ahead of time. We're going to put both of them in the wagon. So that is done ahead of time. But also what I want to do is change the color of the wheels and the handle. So what I did was I cut them out with the silver, on the handle with the silver. This is the lightest silver in the silver foil specialty packet. You get 1 of each of these in 12 by 12. That's in the annual catalog. And I cut out the wheels with basic black, and you get 1 die that's going to do both wheels at the same time, and you get a handle. But what I wanted to do, because the pieces were so small, was to put the adhesive sheet in the back. That way adhesive's already on it. I love these adhesive sheets. You get 12 of them. They are all 6 by 12. You cut the piece down to size. Then whatever size cardstock you want to put it on is the size you cut it. Peel off the backing here. Put that on one side of your cardstock. Flip it over. And then die cut on the other side. And that's what I did for the silver and for the black. And that puts adhesive on the back of those. So before we go any further, I'm just going to take these and peel the backing off. You want to use a take your pick tool, works pretty good to get that off. So what I'm going to do is put this wheel, both of them are going to be black instead. I just think that adds to your project, and these adhesive sheets make it so easy for your adhesive. And then we have here, so you can see it better on white. So now we have the black wheels. We want to go with a silver handle. So this backing is usually harder to get off, just this little piece here. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. And then I'm going to line this up. And there we go. That just adds so much more to that wagon. Now these little guys, when I put them in the wagon, they're not going to go all the way to the bottom, just because I want them out a little bit more. So when I peel this backing off here, that'll show you a little bit better. When I put this little guy in, he's not going to reach the bottom. So I don't want that open space there. So I cut a 1/4 inch piece of red cardstock that I'm going to just fill in that gap right there. I don't want it to be shown through. So hopefully that made sense. You can leave it in there. And then what I'm going to do, because we have the adhesive on the back of that, I'm going to just take this, and we're going to have this little guy right like that. And then we're going to have this guy facing this direction. So that's how we're going to have them. They're going to both be in the wagon. Now I didn't put this on yet. I'm going to actually set this aside, and I could have assembled this for you ahead of time. The reason I didn't do it in the prep work, I wanted to give you a tip on using your Stamparatus or your Simply Scoring tool, because both of them have a corner with a wall on each of the sides. I like to use that, either one of them, for aligning when I need to get a piece of cardstock, 2 cardstock pieces lined up on the same on the bottom and the sides. So what I want to do is just make sure I have the clouds in the right orientation. I think that's right. I have my adhesive on the back. I'm going to put this all the way in the corner and hold it in place. I'm going to take this cardstock, hold it up so the adhesive doesn't touch, and put it all the way to this end, and then once it gets to all the way to the left and hits that wall, then I can drop it into place. And most of the time when I do it that way, I will get it even here, and even here. And if one is a little bit longer than the other one, you can always take it to your trimmer and cut that off. But that's how I like to get that alignment. So I wanted to share that with you before I had that prep work done. I think we all like getting those tips that help us with assembling our project. So now I'm going to look at opposite corners to get the equal spacing on all sides. Sometimes when I'm unsure what color to use for my layer color, I will choose black, especially if I've stamped the image in black. I think it just helps pop out those black images, and it's a great go-to for if you want to add a layer to your card. So now let me look at opposite corners and get that into place. So now that's our card base that the wagon's going to go on. Now the wagon's going to be put on with some dimension. I do want to add a little bit more dimension to the pig, so I'm going to, in the balloon, I'm going to put a dimensional behind the pigs, and this is going to cause them, I'll just put one on each. It's going to cause the top part to kind of come out a little bit more. And then because I put this red cardstock here, I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive over that cardstock. But the rest of this foam part is all adhesive. So we are set to place this on the card. And what you want to do is just look at this and decide how far you want this to go. I'm going to put it right here. And then, as I mentioned, by putting the dimensionals on the pig, they keep this part up, but they're flush to the card right there. So that is the card so far. I wanted a little bit more balloon cluster here, so I stamped and colored in with the blends, and just a couple balloons, and we're going to add those, and you can decide how you want to add those. And then add a sentiment. This banner is part of one of the dies in the die set. I just took one of the sentiments, and there's many to choose from. And we're going to just put this on. You could put it on with dimensionals, or you can, oops, I got a dimensional piece behind that. Let me put that in the trash. And goodness. There we go. I cut that off. That banner had the same image on both sides. For this one, I cut it off because I wanted to go flush here. But you could pop that up with dimensionals, and that is one of the two cards. So I just love how you can cut these apart and use them differently than the image is. So let's do the second card. The second card is got a different orientation, as I shared with you. I'm going to be using this sentiment and banner and these two images. Now what I want to do is have this image like here, and this, I'm going to cut this flower off. We're going to move this flower, so I'm going to trim off right here and trim it off right here. And then I just need to trim off a little piece of cardstock right here. We're going to move this flower on the back part and this pig right like this. We're going to have it look like that. So I'm going to bring the silicone craft mat in for this one and place these down. We're going to have it like this, but we're going to have it behind the images behind the grass. So how I'm going to do that is kind of look at this and decide where I want these to be. I'm going to move them over a little bit, and a silicone craft pad's going to work good to help me out with this. I'm going to put my adhesive across the back of the 2 rows of it on the back of this, and I actually need it a little bit higher than I have it. I need to get really close to that image, because now what I'm going to do is I got it stuck on my finger. I think I'm going to leave this guy off. I'll put them on manually. I'm going to look at, I'm going to just bring this down and pick up those guys, just like that. And then I'm going to put this flower that I cut off, and we're going to put it on this side. So let's just put it all right there. Now what I want to do is turn this over, add some more adhesive right here. And then what I'm going to do is bring in the Stamparatus again, and I'm going to place this down like so. Then I'm going to make sure that I have the right way on here. I'm going to hold this into place, and get that all flush like that. Bring this piece of cardstock in and bring this down. And now I have that placed right where I want it to be. So that Stamparatus or the Simply Scoring tool, both of them have that corner that makes it perfect for alignment. Now again, this is going to be layered onto the black. Let me take this out of the way and look for equal spacing on, I'm looking at opposite corners that allow me to look for equal spacing on the top and the bottom. And now I'm going to put this on the card base and look for equal spacing. Like I said, doesn't that black just help pop it out? Now you can pick any of your favorite colors. You can go with a different green for the grass, different colors for the images. For this happy birthday, I'm going to just put it on with adhesive, or it says, this little piggy says happy birthday. We're going to put this on right here. And that is going to be our second card. I hope you like these cards. If you found me via YouTube, look in the comment section for a direct link to my blog post where I will have a PDF that you can download with these dimensions, a link to this video, the colors I used, and all the supplies I used. I would love to have you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the red box under the video, then select the red bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Also, check out my blog for my host code specials. I always have a fun fold project available and a Create with Terry card kit if you place a qualifying order with me. And if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I hope you enjoyed these projects. Take care and happy creating.